All right, I swore I wasn't going to make any more videos about music business stuff, but just when I thought I was out, you pulled me back in. Today, the truth about music distribution. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while. I've been promising I'm going to be doing regular and more content. Today, this video is the start of that. And while no, I didn't plan on it being about music business because I'm trying to leave all that behind. And those of you that are new to the channel, maybe you can go back and watch the last video on the channel and you'll kind of understand what's going on. But the funny thing about this is, well, I tell you what, before we do all that, don't forget, guys, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so that you're notified every time I upload a new video, which now that the move to Southern California is official and it's over, I'm going to be uploading at least one new video every week. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you want to follow along behind the scenes, make sure you follow me on Instagram at the Steve Freeman. Okay, anyway, what I want to talk about is music distribution. Here's the funny thing. Like I said, I wasn't planning on making any more videos like this, but it's strange and it's weird how the universe works. You know what I mean? My podcast, those of you that listen know about it. If you don't, I'd love to have you listen to it. It's the Steve Freeman Podcast. You can find it everywhere. We even have a podcast YouTube channel. I'll drop the link in the description down below. You can check it out. Over 1 million people listen to this podcast every month. And the DMs that I get on Instagram are all about music distribution. Think about that for a second, how strange that it is. 1 million people a month listen to the podcast, but all of the messages that I get on social media, on Instagram particularly, are all asking me questions about music distribution and the videos and things that I've said in other videos, which may have a combined 250,000 views, maybe. And that's probably stretching it quite a bit. So I know that it's important to you guys. If you've followed along in this series, we did a 3-part video series on Ditto and my experiences with Ditto. I'm not going to go back over that now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back on the channel and take a look at those series and you can see what happened to me. I've for the last, 2 years, 3 years, I've done my, what I consider to be the best music distributor of the year. The last couple of years, I've picked ONErpm because I've been using them regularly. I have a good relationship with them. And let me preface what I'm going to say today about the truth about the music business is 100% of what I'm going to say is based on my experience using all of the different platforms. Okay. I don't know if in your specific situation, this distributor is the best. For everybody, it's different. It's subjective. A lot of it, most of it, matter of fact, 100% of it is based for each of us on our experience and what's happened. Okay. So before we have to go too much further into the video, and I get those comments on the video, they put the time signature in there. 11 minutes, 25 seconds is where he says what the truth about. Okay. Here it is. Listen up very closely. Here's the truth about music distribution. They all suck. Yes, I said it. They all suck. Each and every one of us has used multiple platforms. We've used Distrokid. We've used Cdbaby. We've used ONErpm. We've used AWAL. I'm sure I'm leaving some out. I get messages from you guys, music distribution services I've never heard of. They all suck. Why do I say that? Because none of them do everything right. The number one reason I think, though, and this is where you really have to do some soul searching. This is why I think they all suck. Because most artists have way too high of an expectation level when you're going into it. I understand you're excited about your music career. You're excited about the songs that you've written, songs that you've produced, and you want to get your career off the ground. You want to get it going. But let me tell you this. And this is hard to say, and it's hard to hear because I don't want to crush anybody's dreams. But in all honesty, the distribution of your music doesn't matter at all unless you have two things. One, you either need to have a very large checkbook so that you can promote your music, whether it's on social media, whether it's playlist promotion, which I don't believe in, and I've talked about that in the past. I think those are just money grabs. You need to have a marketing budget to get your music out there in front of people. Number two is you need to have a large social following. If you have a small social following, who are you selling your music to? So I think our expectations have a lot to do with the lens in which we see each one of these distributors through. Look, I have used all of them. I've used Distrokid. I've used Ditto, God knows. I've used ONErpm. I've used Cdbaby. I've used AWAL. They all have their issues. They all have their problems. But look, it all depends on what my expectations are. After 25 years in this business, 13 multi-platinum records I've produced, written 9 #1 singles, I can tell you this. Your expectation level from your music distributor should be that they make it available. Period. End of story. You should never look at the music distributor as the person to promote your music, sell your music for you, make you famous, get your music out there, get your music on playlists. You're asking way too much of all of these different providers. That is your job. That's hard to hear as an artist because I know a lot of you out there are going, I want so badly to get my music out there. I want to develop new fans. I want to have an engaged fan base so that I can sell my music. I can add streamers, followers on your Spotify. Look, I get all of it. But all of that is your responsibility. That's not Cdbaby's responsibility. That's not ONErpm's responsibility. It's not AWAL's responsibility. It's not Tunecore's responsibility. That's your responsibility. So many of you, when I get the questions through my DMs on Instagram, which I'm all for, if you guys want to send me a DM on Instagram and ask a question about a particular music distributor and my experience with them, again, everything that I'm talking about is my experience. I'm not saying all of them are good, all of them are bad for any one particular reason. When I say I use this distributor, it's because of the past and the history and the track record that I have personally using these services. I don't like Ditto. I hate Ditto. I've made that they basically stole money. But guess what? I've heard that from many of you about every different platform. I've heard it about Tunecore. I've heard it about ONErpm. I've heard it about AWAL. I've heard it about everybody. So these experiences are not all of these are bad and this one is good. But I think if you focus primarily on the expectation level of what you are trying to get out of your music distributor, and I'm going to say it again, you will be a happy camper if you realize that the only responsibility that really exists from your music distribution service or company is that they make your music available on all the platforms. That's it. Everything else is your job. It's your job to promote it. It's your job to get a fan base. It's your job to listen to it, to point people to it. It is their job to distribute it. That's it. They're not distribution and promotion companies. Now, that being said, yes, a lot of them are now offering artist services, which I think is bullshit. All of them are bullshit. Unless you have an engaged fan base, there's nothing any of these people can do for you. If I were you and I'm trying to decide what music distribution platform I'm going to use, the first thing that I would really sit down and think about is, how am I going to market this music? Who am I marketing this music to? Do I have a fan base to market this music to? And maybe you're out there and you're saying, well, Steve, look, I'm kind of new. I've never really done this before, so I'm going to start putting out music with the intent of getting it out there, reaching as many people as possible to develop a fan base. Okay, that's awesome. And you can't, if you're going to be an artist, it's impossible for you to build a fan base without music. So you got to have the music. But again, your expectation level matters. You shouldn't expect to sell. Nobody sells music anymore. Comparatively to when I started out in the music business, and if you sold 1 million copies, you were considered a failure. Today, if you sell 1 million copies, you're the top selling artist on that label. That's major label stuff there. Nobody's buying music anymore. 1 to 3% of people are buying. Everybody is streaming. So again, if you're a new artist and you're wanting to start developing and getting a really good engaged fan base, your expectation level needs to be that your music is nothing but a 3 to 3.5 minute advertisement for your brand. Use those streams to get people to follow you on Instagram and engage with you on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Look what TikTok is doing. I know many very successful artists right now that use the only concern they have when they're making a decision on what music distribution service they're going to use is whether or not they distribute to TikTok. And look, they are pretty much all distributing to TikTok now. So again, everything circles back to your expectations. I'll tell you, and I won't name any names, but I had somebody email me or DM me on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. And they're like, hey, Steve, I've watched your videos on YouTube about music distribution, and I'm still confused. When I put this first single out, I know that I'm going to sell a lot. Well, that makes my eyebrows jump right away because it's your first single and you say that you're going to sell a lot, that you've been doing marketing for 6 months, you've been doing promotion, you've been doing all this stuff leading up to this release. So it's important that you choose the right music distribution company to handle all this volume of sales that are going to come through. So I click on his profile. He has 800 followers on Instagram. And I'm like, who are you selling this to? Didn't have a Facebook page, didn't have a regular web page, had 800 followers on Instagram. And my thought is, okay, who, again, expectation level. You say you're going, what's a lot? I mean, if you've got 800 followers on Instagram, let's just do the math. The real music industry and music business math is that 1% to 3% of those people will buy. That's best case scenario. 1% to 3% of those people will buy it. A higher percentage of those, it can range somewhere between 5% and 10%, will stream it if you provide a link. Here's the other thing you got to remember that you're fighting. All of these platforms hate when you post links to send other people off the format, off of the platform. They hate that. So all these little things you got to keep in mind. The main overarching thing that I wanted to talk about is all music distribution companies suck. Okay, unless you're with Universal, which I have a deal with Universal, but there's so much red tape that you have to go through in order to use Universal. It becomes a headache. You don't make as much money. And so those of you out there that wish you had a major distribution deal, it's not really that much different than your deal with Tunecore or ONErpm or any of the others. They are not going to do everything for you. You still are going to have to do the heavy lifting to get people in to listen, to stream, and to buy your music. Get people into your brand. Expectations are everything. So when you ask me, Steve, which platform should I go with? I don't know. What's your expectation level? If your expectation level is that it is available to stream on Apple Music, it's available to stream on Spotify, it's on TikTok, it's on YouTube with Content ID, that it's available for purchase on iTunes and all the other stores and Amazon MP. If that's your expectation, then it doesn't matter. Use any of them. The one thing that I don't understand that a lot of you do is hop from one to the other. I hear that all the time. Get a lot of messages about that. Well, I was using Tunecore and now I'm using Cdbaby. I was using Cdbaby, now I'm trying ONErpm. Why are you doing that? Why are you switching distributors? I'll tell you why. Because your expectation level is too high and the distributor that you're using is not meeting your expectations. If you get rid of all of that and you just come down and you focus and you go, okay, my expectation level from my music distribution company is that they make it available everywhere. That's it. The responsibility of selling it, bringing people to it, pointing people to it, and building an engaged fan base is on you. Do not expect or look to your music distribution company to do that for you, because that is not what they do. They make music available to all the digital and streaming sales platforms. That's their mission statement. That's what they do. Many of them do it very well. Some of them don't do it very well at all. After having used all of it, look, I prefer ONErpm. I get a lot of people very upset at me about that. People that are Tunecore loyalists or Cdbaby loyalists or AWAL loyal. That if your music distributor is working for you, then don't even think about moving. Don't even think about changing. What difference does it make if I think that ONErpm is the best independent digital distribution company out there? If yours is working great for you, then why do you care which one I like? The reason that I've said this in previous videos, the reason that I like ONErpm is because I have had fewer problems with the artists that I've used their service with than any other. That is my experience. That is not to say that if you go sign up for ONErpm, you're not going to have issues. But let's talk about that for a second. Many of you, maybe not even you, but people out there, they are not following the rules. I get a lot of messages. Steve, I switched over to ONErpm. I uploaded a single and it didn't go live. And I don't know why. Did you follow protocol? Did you upload album artwork that had a piece of a copyrighted picture or something in it that you tried to mask or you didn't mask at all? Look, their systems are intelligent, okay? They can tell if you're using copyrighted material. So always make sure that your album cover is truly original, that it doesn't include artwork or pieces or scenery or anything else from anything that's ever been copywritten. Make sure, a lot of you do that, by the way. A lot of problems have been solved with changing the artwork. Okay, number 2, make sure that when you, especially you R&B and hip hop rap artists, when you're licensing beats, make sure that you get a written signed copy of that license. So many masters get rejected because you are uploading a song that contains copywritten beats, either from somebody that you've purchased them from, or maybe it's a beat service, or it's I forgot what the name of that big one is that people use all the time. But you got to make sure that you own the rights to be able to use that music, or make sure that your music is 100% original, that it doesn't contain any copywritten material whatsoever. Thirdly, make sure that whichever music distributor you are using, look at their protocol and know exactly what that master file should be. Is it supposed to be 2448? Is it supposed to be 1644? Make sure you know those things. I have helped so many people over the last 2 years solve these problems by looking at it and going, okay, you've uploaded a 2448 master, but your distribution company only accepts 1644.1. There's your problem. Your artwork contains copywritten material, or you uploaded a song within a beat that you licensed from a service or a person, and it got kicked back or it got removed when their content ID system finally picked it up, and it's like, whoa. Okay, contact your music distribution company, say, here's the license. Here's where I have the license to use that, and you'll be fine. But if you did a lot of these things on the front end, you wouldn't have the problems on the back end. Okay, so again, everything comes back to expectations. Before you upload your music, make sure you go through and you look at all of the specifications that it's supposed to be. Artwork, 3,000 by 3,000, perfectly square. That's an Apple standard. They do not accept anything less than that. 3,000 by 3,000. Many of you are designing artwork 1,200 by 1,200. Well, it's not high enough resolution. That's not what Apple wants. And the distributors will tell you all of this. They have all of this information on their website. Make sure you are following the rules. Many people would have less problems if you just followed the rules from the beginning. Again, I want to recap this and sum this up really quickly. It all comes down to your expectations. Your music distribution company is not going to find and recruit people to sell your music for you. They're not going to find and recruit people to stream your music and follow you and become a follower on Spotify. That is not what they do. Their job is to simply make it available on those platforms. If you hold them to that, and that is the extent of your expectation, I think a lot of you would be happy with no matter which music distribution company that you have. The truth about digital music distribution platforms and services and companies is they all suck. None of them are really great. None of them are really bad, except for Ditto. I still say Ditto is the worst of them all. I get every time I get the opportunity to say that, I do, because it's the truth. And they've offered me money to take my videos down, and I won't do it. So Ditto does suck. Any of the other ones, I've said before, Cdbaby is not my favorite. Everybody asks why. Just past experience. It just wasn't my favorite experience as a user. I've used Tunecore in the past. It wasn't my favorite. At the time, I didn't like their dashboard. I like what they're doing now with cover songs and being able to license those things. ONErpm's my favorite. I'm sorry. It's the least headache. It's the devil that I know, if you will. I'm not going to tell you to use ONErpm. I'm not going to tell you not to use anybody else. This comes down to your personal experience. It comes down to your personal preference, and most importantly, your expectations. So manage your expectations wisely, and I think many of you will have a great experience. As long as you're following the rules, many of you will have a flawless and wonderful experience. I start finding that most people have issues when they're not following the rules. That's typically speaking. That's not to say that people don't have problems, and that happens all the time, but it's not singular, and it's not just specifically you. They happen all of the time. So keep that in mind. Another question I get all the time is about how the different platforms charge. ONErpm charges 15% of your sales. A lot of people have a problem with that. If you have a problem with that, God forbid you ever become an A-list artist that does have a major distribution deal, because Universal and Sony, they take a hell of a lot more than 15% of your sales, okay? So 15% is nothing. For every 10,000 you sell, ONErpm is going to get $1,500, okay? 15% is not that big of a deal. Some of the others charge a yearly fee per single, per ringtone, per album, per whatever. None of it matters. If you're not selling music, then it doesn't matter whether you're paying yearly or whether you're paying 15% of the revenue. I like the revenue split option, because when you win, everybody wins. When they win, you win. It just makes sense to me. I've always been a we guy, so I'm a partner guy. I would much rather share the revenue than just pay them $50 a month to have my thing up there, and then I'm going to forget 1 year, and it's going to come down, and then I've got to repay, and I've got to It's just, quite honestly, it's just a pain in the ass. But again, all of those are the ornaments on the Christmas tree. They're not the Christmas tree. If you're happy where you are, don't even think about leaving. If you're just getting started, do your research, watch my videos, watch other people's videos, and then make a well-informed and educated decision on who you feel like is going to be best for you. The truth about music distribution is that all of them suck. And you're going to be unhappy at some point with all of them. Know that going in, manage your expectations, and you're going to have a lot better experience. Because let's face it, as an artist, you should be focused on making music, writing songs, building an engaged fan base. Because guys, listen, unless you have an engaged fan base, you don't even need to be making music. I know that's hard to hear. If you don't have somebody to sell it to, if you don't have somebody to stream it, why are you making it? Start there. Start with your expectation level being using your music to get an engaged fan base, build your following, get on TikTok. It's all there. It's all there for the taking. And when you really consider what your side of the responsibilities of this job of building your artist career is, the music distribution side is very, very small and minute. It's just their job to make it available. It's on you to do everything else. Guys, thank you for joining me for another video. Don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, drop a comment. I'd love to hear what you think about music distribution. Who are you using? Let's look here. Let's share positive stories and negative stories in the comment. I don't have to always be the one telling you do this, don't do that. If you had a positive experience with the distributor you use, drop it in the comments so other people can see that. I don't care who you use. I honestly don't. I could care less. As long as your music's available, that's all that matters to me as a consumer and a customer and a potential fan. So, drop a like on the video, leave a comment. click the bell and then click all notifications so you're notified every time I upload a new video to the channel. I'd love to have you follow me on Instagram at the Steve Freeman. If you want to drop me a DM, ask me a question, feel free to. Thousands of other people do. And if you'd like to connect with me one-on-one, text me, okay? Here's the number, 949-577-8227. That's 949-577-8227. Guys, see you in the next one.
There's something in the air.